The future of the First Amendment, the future of our democracy is up to all of us. And students, I think, are going to be on the forefront of that as they have been through history.
Mary Beth Tinker became the voice of the student freedom of speech movement when she sued her school for the right to wear black armbands protesting the Vietnam War. Ohio University had its own protest in May 1970 after the Ohio National Guard shot and killed 4 students at Kent State. Amidst protests, administrators chose to close the school and call in the National Guard. Ohio University professor Kevin Mattson says the 1960s was a turning point for student voices.
I think people are more aware of their free speech rights. I don't think in the early 60s there was as much awareness. I think the civil rights movement and all the movements against the war, things like that throughout the 60s have made people, I think, cherish their free speech rights more and been more defensive about protecting those free speech rights.
Ohio University's College Green is where many protests occurred in May 1970. And in fact, is where the court case against Ohio University now started at last year's involvement fair, when students defending students wore t-shirts with the slogan, "We get you off for free."
I really am looking at this case, first of all, as a way to make sure that people's First Amendment rights are respected.
Fifth-year senior Isaac Smith decided to sue Ohio University administrators after the group was asked not to wear the shirts. This case is just one of 4 cases filed by students from universities contesting administrative rules about student freedom of speech.
Many of our most important First Amendment cases have come from seemingly insignificant events. What's significant is the power. Does the government have the power to tell people whether they can express themselves and how to express themselves? And that is a big deal, no matter how trivial you may think the speech is.
The 31-page complaint filed in federal court claims that Ohio University Code of Conduct is too strict. The code states that any act which demeans, degrades, disgraces any person is against Ohio University Student Code, and the group would be subject to punishment.
There's no right in our Constitution not to be offended. And when the government is trying to act as the arbiter of good taste, you have an inherent First Amendment problem.
The complaint alleges that administrators said the shirts objectified women and promoted prostitution, but lawyers argue the code is overbroad. When asked to respond, Ohio University said they couldn't talk about current litigation. Smith says he is excited to use his voice to fight for this generation's freedom of speech rights.
That's something that I've always wanted to do, and at the same time, I'm really excited because I think it's going to be a great learning process.
Reporting for WOUB News, I'm Tori Knieven.